Hello and welcome to our video where we are going to be making some pizza sauce. So for this pizza sauce, it's going to be really simple without many ingredients, and I have them all laid out here. The really essential ones are going to be our olive oil, our tomato paste, and a cup of warm water. Now this is a tube of tomato paste, but you will probably find it in the store in the shape of a can that comes in 6 ounces, and it usually says the ounces down at the bottom here. So that's what you're going to be looking for when you're buying this sauce yourself. And it's going to be pretty simple. We're just going to combine those ingredients together, and then to make it taste good, we're going to have a couple things. The first off, we have salt and we have pepper. And then we have a couple more, the first of which is I have an all-purpose seasoning here. It has a bunch of different herbs in it, but if you have parsley, such as dried parsley like this, or if you have oregano, those are also really good options to add in there. I also have some garlic powder, which is an optional thing to add in. Basically, whatever you have in your kitchen that you think would taste good in a pizza, you can add it into this sauce. Just don't add too much. That's the golden rule. Add a little bit at a time. And then the final thing is cane sugar. A little bit of sugar to make it sweeter, make it really yummy. So the first thing that we're going to do is we are going to take our 6 ounces of tomato paste, which is here, and we're going to put that in our bowl. And as you can tell, we also have some measuring tools like the 1 cup for water and a set of teaspoons and tablespoons. So if you have that, you should grab it now. But we're going to take our tomato paste and we are going to measure out our 6 ounces, or if you have a 6 ounce can, you can just take that whole 6 ounces out of there and put it in there. For now, I'm just going to start putting some into the bowl here. And once I have my tomato paste in there, I can add in my olive oil. And for the olive oil, it's going to be 1/3 of a cup. So if you have a 1/3 cup measuring little ladle thing, this is going to be the perfect time to use it. If you don't, you can look up a conversion online, but 1/3 cup is going to be the most accurate way to look at it. So you can pour it in, and I always like to measure over the thing that I'm doing or over the sink. If you're not too worried about spilling, you can go right over the mixing bowl, but if you don't want to add a whole bunch of it, you can do it over the sink. So add that in, cover it all up, and then you want to add in your water as well. I've got 1 cup of water here, which I'm gonna add to the mix. And this is a super simple recipe. Just all add it in. You can start mixing it up a little bit. And then at this point, we can start to also add our spices to make it taste really good. So the first thing, we're gonna do salt and pepper and just half a teaspoon of each. And so I've got my little measurer here, and this guy is gonna be half a teaspoon. So I'm just gonna measure in half a teaspoon of each of this salt and pepper, like so. And the most important thing with this is that it tastes good. So what I would recommend is after you mix it all together, try tasting it. And if you think it needs a little bit more salt or a little bit more pepper, you can feel free to do so. At this point, you can start to add some other spices. So for this, it's gonna be kind of an all seasoning spice. I'm just gonna take the top off this so I can measure it. And for this, I'm gonna add about 1 tablespoon. Now, if you don't have a tablespoon, but you have a teaspoon measure, 3 teaspoons combine to make 1 tablespoon. So that's a really easy way to remember it. And so I'm going to carefully measure this over my sauce. So that's about 1, 2, and a full 3 teaspoons to make 1 tablespoon. And then I'm going to do about 1 teaspoon of the garlic powder that I have right here. So to do so, just open the bag. You can take your teaspoon out, measure it in the bag so you don't spill any, and kind of smooth out the top of it, and you have a perfect teaspoon of garlic powder. And at this point, I'm not going to use the parsley because I already had some in my other mixture, but I am going to add 1 teaspoon of sugar. So using that same teaspoon, if you care to, you can wash it off so you don't get garlic in your sugar. I'm just going to be very careful and pour some sugar right over my mixture and not spill a whole bunch and make this a very sweet tomato sauce. Just spill a little bit. Perfect. So now that I've measured everything in, I can very simply start mixing. And at this point, what you want to do is see what do you need to add more of. Right now my sauce is looking very watery, so I might want to add more of my tomato paste. And another option is, if you have some, you can add some tomatoes, either diced or whole, whatever sort of canned tomatoes you have, even some fresh tomatoes if you want to mix it up. Those are always great to add to this tomato sauce. But if you don't have that, no worries, this will still taste delicious without it. So you can mix it with a spoon, fork, or a whisk if you prefer. And at this point, what you want to do is look at it, look at the texture. Is it looking like a tomato sauce? Right now, this looks very soupy, so I'm going to add a little bit more tomato paste. And then at that point, you can also taste it and see, what's it tasting like? Right now, it tastes pretty sweet and salty and peppery. It's tasting really good. I just need to add a little bit more to thicken it. So that'll be a little bit more of this tomato paste. But really, it is all up to you. Whatever you want your tomato sauce to taste like, make it the best pizza of your dreams, and good luck.